Good evening, everybody. Bobby Bakewell here. We are currently going to throw you a tournament recap for Lake of the Ozarks, the fourth stop of the Tackle Warehouse Invitationals. It was a fun one. My first ever check in a professional circuit event, so that was crossing one of those off the list. I've been wanting to do that for a while now. So we ended up in 35th for the event. Had a really fun tournament. Lake of the Ozarks was a beautiful lake. It was my first ever time on a Highland reservoir, and it was very, very memorable. I'm going to get into the baits I used for this event. I believe I ended up with about 38 and a little bit of change for the 3 days of fishing. I had just under 14 the first day, 14 the second day, and 10 the final day. So yeah, so it was pretty much two baits and combos that got it done this week. It was a Enigma Fishing 7-1 medium Epon rod, and that's paired with a 3000 Pesca spinning reel full of 15-pound Ozarks super braid to a 12-pound T7 fluorocarbon leader, also by Ozarks. And then I was throwing a Gamakatsu 1/0 weedless wacky hook, that's the G Finesse, and with a Bruiser Baits Summer Crawl stick worm. And I was mainly using that to sight fish. I caught a lot of fish that week sight fishing, and I did also catch some just casting around dock floats and stuff like that. But I caught a lot of my bigger fish doing that. Sight fishing the first and final day, and then my other deal was when I was going around the floating docks, I was throwing just a big swim bait. This is a Mag Draft. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but just kind of a staple, and it has been chewed, as you can see. So that was my other deal, was skipping that under the dock cables around the floats and everything where I knew they were spawning, and I even actually sight fished some of them with it. It was pretty amazing. The water was so clear, and they would come up and inhale this thing. It was so much fun. I had such a blast doing it, but I was throwing that on a 7.3 medium heavy Enigma Epon rod, and then the Pesca bait casting reel 7.3-1. full of 16-pound T7 fluorocarbon. And I can't say enough about that T7 this week and super braid, because I mean we were fishing around some pretty nasty cables, and I had one in particular y'all will see in the video that was one of the biggest fish I weighed in the event. And when I went to skip it under a cable, it went over the cable, and the fish ate it, and it was just like sawing me back and forth on the cable, and that 16-pound T7 held up, and when I got into the boat, that fluorocarbon was white from being frayed. So had tons of fun. We are currently down here for the final Southern Toyota on Lake Eufaula in Alabama, and we're gonna swing for the fences. We're we're 8th in points, so hopefully we can get a good event for this one and re-qualify for the Invitationals. So we'll check back in later.